Hello and welcome to the Ignorance Project. Today is a very different form for the Ignorance Project. That's not the right way to say that. But anyway, I am having a discussion with my family and we are getting debriefed on DiSC.
Right. So let's get into it. Okay, let's get into the DiSC and the different styles. Well, what do you think? What did anyone think of that based on what you saw in your report?
I thought it made a little bit more sense because I don't feel strongly aligned with S, but I also know my dot's more in the center. So kind of made that make more sense.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing too, because even though where I am, I saw the other two areas, I said, I could do that, I could do that. But then I am more, and so I just looked at my chart again, and I guess I wasn't paying attention as much to the that second one where it had the other quadrants colored in,
Right.
which kind of pulls it. Okay, so that's why I may be that, and I may mistake that one thing. Like I know a lot of people think that I'm a guy who likes fun all the time, etc. Right? And I do like fun, but not all the time. In fact, not most of the time. You know? But
I was gonna say,
you're anti-fun.
I was gonna say, as a family, I don't know that we think you're fun all the time, or you like fun all the time. Like you like to like.
I was joking.
No,
you weren't.
I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean
What
because
Aga said so.
yeah, like when we think about our childhood, Dad was very much like in the books. He was working all the time. And we'd be really silly. We'd be running around the house. We'd be throwing things at each other. And he'd be like, guys, I'm trying to work. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, Dad will be, he'll be like that. But then he'll just have a switch. He'll just turn on whenever he wants to. And it'll be at different times.
Yeah,
when,
that is true.
We're just chilling. And then Dad's like, oh, it's time. Finally done. Whatever I was doing. So
yes, exactly. So yeah, that's good. So when we look at the overview of the DiSC style, I want you to take a minute and look at this. Look at the different characteristics that by the different styles. Like when you look at dominance, right? Direct, firm, strong-willed, forceful, results-oriented. I totally claim it. That's me. I'm in the D. I'm a D style, and I totally claim what it says about me. You know, what about you guys? When you look at what you see, and let's talk about it. Do you claim it? Do you what do you not see or what do you see that shouldn't be, you think shouldn't be there?
No, I claim mine. I mean, I am, what am I? I'm SI?
Yeah, so you would look at that.
So I can definitely see myself even tempered, accommodating. These are very nice qualities to have. I don't know.
They're beautiful qualities.
Yeah, but I was looking at my chart, and it's so interesting because the dots in the S part, but then there's more shading in the I, the I part, and also the D part has more shading than the C part, which is interesting to me.
Okay. All right. So let's. I'm gonna get into that, right? So the video did say that if your dot is more toward the center, you have a slight inclination toward that style. Moderate if it's in the middle, and then strong if it's on the line or closer to the line. And that when I saw that, I resonated with that because my dot. When I look at my dot, you can see where my dot is, right? On this. Oh,
that's you. Yeah.
That I actually put mine here, right? So you see where my dot is. That is truly me. I am totally inclined to the D style. This means this. It's very difficult for me, whether at work or at home, to do something that's inclined to the S. It means I have to really stretch and reach over to get it done. So if I'm at work or if I'm at home and someone asks me to do something that shows a lot of support, and things like that, I have to come out. I have to really stretch and come out of myself to do it. And when I think about myself and my life, with my family, with friends, with people. It's true. It's true about me. I do have to stretch to be tactful, to be calm. It's a stretch for me, while the dominance is easy for me to do. Any comments?
Yeah, with me, like a CD, right? So like a compact disc, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see how I just jumped over to the S for a second. But anyway, so I'm I'm like a CD, and my dot is closer to the edge. It's not touching the edge, not like yours. That means you're very, very, very dominant, right? But I'm, the conscientious dominant because I have enough in some of the other places. When I look at it, I say, well, yeah, that kind of is me. I don't like to acknowledge actually some of the dominant things in my personality, but they're there, And so when I looked, I said, yeah, I can see that. And I like fun. And I think when I looked at how much was in sort of the IS section over there, again, it caused me to reflect on some things because I also like peacekeeping too, but I obviously like to get things done more than I do peacekeeping. All right. I obviously like to have to get things done more than I like to have fun. And I think about that too, because I'm always the kind of person, okay, you can have fun after.
I want you to just take a minute right now. Your style story. Let's tell us two things that resonate with you.
Two things that really resonate with me are I spend more time listening than speaking. I think I listen. I'm a very good listener. And I also think that the part where it said I might file away important details about those I work with, such as birthdays or tidbits about their families. I'm pretty good at just remembering the random stuff about people to try to build a better a better picture of who that person is, more three-dimensional. So I keep that tucked away. If they tell me something about their family or something about their hobbies or passions or whatever, that is something that is very like me.
So how has that helped you with your relationships?
Oh, it's definitely helping. I mean, I think that I'm fairly easy to work with. I don't think there are many people who would find me hard to work with because I kind of put their emotions first, and I try to navigate that empathetic space while working with them, but also trying to get stuff done. I don't think about work as far as just getting it done at all costs. I think of it as what is the best way to do this with the people I'm working with, even if that means sacrificing some quality. I don't mind sacrificing quality to keep relationships or move the team or collaborate the collaborative aspect of it. I'm more about that. I will sacrifice quality at that cost.
Okay, so I heard that. I heard get into doing things for people. Have you ever found that it's sacrificed something for you?
I love quality, so that's
no,
I love it. Yeah, it's a big sacrifice. Sometimes I'm like, God, this is not going to get done right. It's not going to be perfect. But right. It's at the cost of, I'd rather have people have enjoy the experience as well. So yeah. I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to be the greatest thing in life, but it'll be okay.
Okay, if I were coaching you, I'd push you a little on yourself, on what it does to you sometimes to accommodate other people. But I know we have to move on. Shireen, you want to just tell us two things that resonated with you from this?
Two things that resonated with me. The first would be the harmony. I definitely like to keep the peace and create a space where people feel comfortable speaking up. And then the second one would be sharing the credit when I receive credit. I always like to give credit. I love to give credit where it's due.
Yes, Shireen does like to give credit, and she does like to get the credit when I noticed that when she's like, "Can you believe he said what I said and didn't say I said it?"
Exactly. I'm just like, who does that?
She is really serious about that, guys. You know, you got to give Shireen her credit when she does. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Which is,
Yeah.
well, maybe you're getting there, but since you said it, I just think it's interesting because one of the things that says in my report is I don't necessarily like to always receive the credit. And I don't think that's true about myself. I like receiving it when I should receive it. Right. But if I should, I don't feel the need to always like be front and center when something happens either. So it's just an interesting thing.
Yeah, I find that interesting. So good. So what does it do to you when you don't get the credit and you feel you should?
I feel like someone stole a part of me, honestly. And the reason I say that is there's a very specific situation I'm thinking of, and I will never forget this. I can hold on to a thing. That's something else that needs to be addressed, I suppose, but I can't.
I know.
There was this moment where I literally remember putting something online, writing out this very just personally emotional statement about someone that passed, a celebrity that passed, that made an impact on my life. And I remember seeing what I said on someone's Facebook page. And when I tell you that upset me so much because I'm like, this is plagiarism. It really gave me a lot of trust issues with things that I see. Cause I'm like, I don't know if people are being honest anymore. Like, I don't trust it, which is when I go back to saying, I kind of see that seed too. I don't trust most people because I just don't know the full story. I want to have all the information before I feel like, oh, I can trust what they say. So anyway, that's how it affected me. Sorry.
Yeah, and guys, to this day, she talks about
this day.
This person, and it makes me wonder, Shireen, what does it do to you to carry it all this time?
Because you know what, too, I feel like you put stuff out there, and people just deserve to be honest about where they got it from. Like, if you were inspired by what I said, I don't have any issue with that at all. Like, I love that I said something that you could connect with. However, you saying it as if you thought of it and you said it, that's what bothers me. I just think
that goes with the world of research, right?
I have never felt the same about that person.
That's what you need coaching about. like, can you let it go?
Family therapy session.
Yeah. Okay. Keith?
Yeah.
What two things resonated with you?
Yeah. One, something I thought was correct was when they spoke about I'm going to read it, because of your strong desire to control outcomes, you may struggle to share responsibility, and it can be difficult for you to depend on others. And yes, that is me, If I want something done, I may have a way in which I think is the best way to get it done. All right. And I will share that with others. Okay, this is how we're going to do it, sort of thing, and I kind of want us to move along that. And it's hard for me sometimes to deal with a different way that just doesn't make sense to me and may take a little longer to do if I feel that my way is is going to be the best way to do it. Yeah. And something I think that didn't get me too well was this whole thing. It said, like others with the CB style, you probably avoid showing too much emotion, especially in social situations. Now, I would like not to show emotion, but y'all know that y'all can read me like a book. All right.
Yeah.
And so I would like to have a poker face, man. But if I went to Vegas, man, I'd be broke. We'd have to be selling the house, everything else. Yeah. So that's one thing that I look and I said, well, and so I think it got the intent right that I would like to be that poker face person that people would think that thing. And then again, there are some people who think that I am that stoic, who think I am that, because they don't know what's going on the inside. And I'm not sure if that's
that whole surface level thing again.
Right, yeah. But I'm a very emotional person, so I'm not, I do care if I step on somebody's toes, etc. At least I do care if I step on somebody's toes probably after the task is done, and I may say, "Oh my goodness, I wonder how that person felt when I did that." And so maybe a person who is so tunnel driven and just wants to get the task done doesn't realize the damage they've done until after.
Okay.
So I'm sure that I've done things on reflection where I may have stepped on somebody's toes, I may have ignored just to make sure we met that deadline, etc. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing that I would do if I thought about it. I would try to step back. I would try to do what August said that he likes to do, and not trying to rock the boat too much. But I guess for me, the objective and getting that stellar project out is the most important. That's what's going to be my driving
Mm-hmm.
focus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So as your wife of 34 years, I can say, yes, you do like to share you do share your emotions. You do show them, you do cry, you do
Okay, that's the whole world.
Really good. No.
okay, there we go. There you go. And stuff like that. So yes, I would say you're correct in that, right? So what makes you think that the whole world knowing you cry is a big deal?
So, I guess because, and that
What
could
did you
be
say,
part.
August?
I'll let Dad speak.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess that could be all part of this thing there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want the persona, like for instance, I do kind of want people to think I'm no nonsense, especially that, even though that's not who I am. All right,
Yeah.
but I feel when you have a task and you want it completed, you kind of want people to think, oh my goodness, I don't want to get Burton upset, even though Burton's bark is a lot worse than his bite,
Right. Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. And for me, I'll be quick. I resonated with little patience for small talk, and I honestly don't have patience for small talk. I tend to anticipate what I think people are gonna say, and then I don't listen. Once you're in that, it's like, and then when you get to the point, I'm like, oh, okay. And I do know. I remember distinctly Kyle Mackey, may he rest in peace, my heart son. When one time he was talking to me and he says, okay, your eyes are glossed over, you're not listening back. And I'm like, he was so right. I wasn't listening because he just kept talking. And I do that. I tend to do that to people. So that I resonate with that. And then questions, although everyone questioned their decisions from time to time, I move forward with my decisions. If I make a decision, that's it, done, move, and whatever consequences come later, it comes and I deal with it. But I'm not going to like second guess myself like this.
Like your
No, I'm not
husband.
going to do, I'm like, bam, made the decision. Let's move on. All right. Well, good discussion. Anyone has anything?
Now I say, in a second, let's get to stuff like your husband, because you know how I am.
Mhm.
You may ask something and say, okay, then, and I'm thinking, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, just go ahead, and
Yeah.
so yeah, so I guess the differences in there, because I can, which is strange. Once I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. All right,
Mhm.
but it may take me a while to know exactly what I'm going to do.
All right. Awesome. Great. When I look at us, this is our group map. There, the Shireen and Kaleem, the two kids, they're over there in the S range. But you see where the dots lie, right? You see Kaleem is closer up to the I, where he's an SI, and Shireen is in the S. But Shireen, you talk about yourself being, you see some D's, you see some C's, you see, and that you stretch a lot better because you're right there in the middle, close to the middle of that. What do you think about that, Shireen?
A couple of things. The first is going back to the statement I made at the beginning of the call, where we are clearly very different from our parents. Look, this is proof. The second thing I think is I agree with that, because even when we were looking at, you said, do you agree with everything that falls in the category that you're in? I'm not the most patient person. And that's the one that stood out as something I don't connect with. So seeing this, it just makes it make more sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense. And that's why it even makes more sense that you're more like your parents when I see the dots, actually.
I guess.
Because you see, you can stretch to the D easily. You can stretch to that C easily, easier than even Kaleem. Kaleem stretches more to the I. Kaleem, any thoughts?
I'm wondering if we were traumatized.
I think about that.
You know, Kaleem, you need to elaborate on that.
It's just so interesting. We're both, Sharita and I are in the support section. You guys are both in the dominant section. It's just like, what happened there?
You know,
No,
when
but
you,
I don't think we were traumatized. Personally, me, I do not. I love my parents very much. You guys did a great job.
No comment. No.
no, but to your point, Kaleem, honestly, because I'm such a D, and I think my kids know I'm a D, my husband knows I'm a D, perhaps you compensate for some of me. You know,
Yeah, I'm wondering, like,
growing up.
like, is it part of our person or part of our DiSC assessment because of how family dynamics were, how we just fit in and tried to make things work for all of us. So, like, you know, if I had grown up with I parents, would I be more C, or, you know, like the opposite? You know,
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I think it's very interesting, which is why it's based on your environment as well. It's based on who brings you up. You know, I was a very dominant parent where if somebody messed with my kids, I'm out there. You know, I was that part, period. And so my kids probably didn't feel like they needed to be that, you know, or something like that, because mama gonna come, mama coming for you, my mama coming for you, you know, kind of thing. But I think it has a lot to do with who you become. All right.
Yeah, and you know, I think August raised something that's very important,
Yeah.
actually, even as we look at the differences over here and look at the role that nature and nurture plays into shaping us in these ways. And I'm thinking about my own parenting in a sense, you know, like one of the things that Shireen talks to me about all the time. Why did you teach me to change a tire? Why did you teach me to do this? Why did you teach me to do that sort of thing, right? And I think about it, I said, yeah, I probably should have done more of that, you know. And but for me, you know, it was quicker just to do it myself, you know. And or you know, as in the case August, when you're supposed to help me build the bookshelf, you know, August helped me for about 5 minutes and then he's back and forth sort of thing, right? And so rather than finding some sugar way or some honey way to say, okay, let's do this way together, do this thing, have a patience. Okay, it may not take you a week to do it, it may take you a month. And then he said, you know, I'm kind of like, okay, if it's not going to happen, I'm going to go ahead and get it done because I got it. And then, so thinking about this, you know, as a parent, you know, is that something that sort of crippled you guys in a sense, you know? I mean, should I have stood back? Should I have exercised more patience so that you guys could? Because now, for instance, you know, as I'm hearing August say, well, you know, if the project's not exactly how I want it, that's cool. And I'm like, no, it ain't sort of thing, right? But could that be due to the fact that you know, working on a project with Dad, it was always okay. Dad's gonna call the shots. You know, Dad's not gonna listen to recommendations. Dad's not going to think, you know. And so that gives me a chance now to look at myself, you know, and to say this, and also hopefully for you guys to say, well, is the reflection that we see in this tool something that could be due to the way in which we were parented, and there's anything that we can do now to sort of move towards that. And you guys may be cool where you are. I don't know. Right. But again, just recognizing certain things. And I guess as long as it doesn't impact you negatively for life, that's okay. All right. But if it's something that you don't like about yourself, then saying, okay, maybe it's there. And I'm willing to, you know, to say, but you know, if I'm the one that basically fed into that, crippled certain things and stifled growth in a sense because I was so focused on the goal. If I had to do it myself, that was okay. When the goal could have been making sure that my children know how to do A, B, C, D, E, rather than making sure that this bookshelf is built.
You say that, and there's a book by Oprah and a psychologist, Dr. Perry, called What Happened to You? And they really go into the psychology of how you, as an adult, a lot of times we interact with people and we don't understand the why they act the way that they do, really, and the trauma that influenced how they are presently in life. So you said that, and it just reminded me of that book, because there's a reason that you are the way that you are. And like you said, there are things that you guys did with us that influenced how we are now. So it makes sense. But I also think that you get to the point in life where we can't blame you forever. We can say, oh, that's what happened. That's why we do this. But like you said, okay, how do I move on from this? Because now I have the knowledge to know that this is something I don't like about myself.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think it's interesting. I mean, I don't want it to be taken too seriously that I was talking of that it is actually trauma related. And also, I think it's so interesting. I want to hark back to what Mother said at the very beginning, that different does not equal wrong. Different equals different. Because I mean, Dad's saying, "Oh man, you guys could have grown. You guys could have been better." And I'm like, I love myself. What are you talking about?
I'm failures. How could you?
Yeah. Awesome.
The actual August, it sounded like what your dad was saying was that you guys could be more like me.
Yeah.
S's.
Right. Yeah. The way I look at it is, now they're grown. We're doing DiSC, and they look at DiSC and they say, where can I improve? We each have to do that. Each of us has to do that for ourselves. And they're at that point now where, we did impact them, but they're at the point now where they make their own decisions and do and adjust where they see the need. All of us. What stresses you guys out? Even as we look at the family, what many of the following aspects of your work may be stressful for you?
For me, giving people negative feedback. And it's wild because I am not really great with coming up with a negative thing to say. Like, I really do see the positive in most things, which is one of my personal challenges. Like, it's hard for me to say, oh, I didn't like how they did this. I'll say, you know what, they did that. However, XYZ, like, I always see the good in things. So that's stressful for me.
And that is totally understandable, right? They teach us that even when you're writing a letter, always start with something positive, even if you're going to say something that's not that's an opportunity for growth later on. So, but something in you seems to like just not doing it. You don't like doing it at all.
And I know for me, it's hard for me to even find a thing I don't like sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I would love to be the person that's able to tell something constructive. Right. Sometimes I think people give feedback because they're supposed to give it, but that doesn't mean it's valuable. It's just like, well, I'm supposed to put this thing on a paper, so this is what you did. That's messed up. But is it really accurate, or did we dive into it fully? I would rather be able to say to someone like, you know what, I noticed this. However, I think that this is the best approach moving forward. Maybe you could change how you're doing this.
So how are you with the family?
No, with y'all, I just keep everything in.
Right. Okay. And so then what does that do for you?
Keeps the peace. For me. It keeps harmony.
Wow.
Dad, I see you making faces.
Yeah, it keeps harmony. But then what are you doing to yourself?
As much as I say, there are 30 things I don't say for every one thing I say.
Okay. August, what stresses you out?
I'm looking here. Giving unpleasant feedback and being forceful or insistent with others. but I hate it so much. I find that I'm like looking at this more and more. I find I'm much of I'm a compensator. Like I'll compensate in order for it to like effectively collaborate, you have to compensate for other people's weaknesses. And I
Mm,
something even if I hate doing it, just because I want to, it has to be done. Like it has to be done type thing. But
mhm.
I hate being forceful. I hate it so much. But I
Wow.
times. I've done it many times, but I just hate it.
Okay. Okay. So then when you have to do it, how does it make you feel?
How does it make me feel? I hate it. I
You
don't want-
hate it. I mean, or even a better question, how does it make you feel to compensate for people?
How does it make me feel to compensate? I don't mind compensating because some of the things that I compensate for might actually be things I would like to do.
But in your headspace, I'm wondering, sometimes I wonder, like when you compensate for people, or when you don't like to give people negative feedback or anything like that, so you just do it. What does it do to you to do it? Does it do anything to you? Does it make you feel bad at all? Or
It does not make me feel bad at all to compensate for people.
okay,
That's actually probably one of my greatest strengths is I don't care. I'll just do it.
okay, okay, all right. What
Um,
about the family? Do you do that with the family?
do I compensate for you with you guys?
Yeah. Are there things that you say, okay, I'm just gonna do it? Shireen is Shireen. I don't want to say this negative thing to Shireen, so I'll do that, or to dad or to mom.
You guys are. Oh well, I mean, definitely. I'll like clean your dishes or do whatever. Like I'll go put your stuff away, whatever.
You
Because I'll
will do that.
for me to do it. I don't really care. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
impact the emotional
yeah.
for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Keith. All right. Keith, what stresses you?
Yeah. So in the workplace, it'd be following inefficient procedures, in the
Mhm.
sense that there are some forms that I take a long time to fill out, etc., because I think it's just plain stupid. It could be done, things could be articulated differently. I'm like, why am I doing this anyhow? I'm wasting my time, etc. So I think now when it comes to the home front, I think my biggest thing is giving feedback without appearing overly critical because I know I can be very, very critical and I see everything. I see everything. And Hyacinth refers to me as a pseudo
Melancholy.
melancholic in the sense
Mhm.
that, I see what everyone else has done wrong, you know, but oftentimes I could be guilty of the same thing. So I guess everyone probably agree to what I said because there was no problem. So
We
everyone
all
probably
agree.
say,
I
yeah,
think
that's
I
that.
don't know about
Okay.
August. I saw Shireen's face. I definitely agreed with what you said.
Okay.
The point of DiSC is to really develop strategies for effectiveness so we can see ourselves, but how do we effectively work with others? All right. So on WP4, it asks you to consider the impact of it asks you to look at the strategies. For me, consider the impact of your words. So true for me. I'm just going to do one of mine. Consider the impact of your words. Everyone who knows me knows that I can say things and without thinking. So this really helps me to go back into myself, also go back to the emotional intelligence and just not say anything that comes to my mind right away, but to think it through. Understand it. Let's look at understanding the different styles, understanding the D style strengths, right? Speaking up. So if you're working or living with a D person, these are some things you can do to to get along better with the D person. Speaking up about difficult issues, fighting for what I believe in, keeping things moving forward, and pushing my team and my family to achieve ambitious goals. My kids, you guys, when you were young, that last one, yeah, I do push in my family, my kids, I did push my kids to achieve ambitious goals. I didn't like C's in school while your dad was more open to that. If they're C people, they're C people. And I would go, but they're not C kids. They're not, they have to do that. Remember one time really getting mad with Shireen for bringing home an interim C or something like that, slamming the door so hard it opened back up, and so that's
That did not bode well with my S style.
and that did not go well with her style at all. And I, thinking back now and knowing these things, that is not something I would do now with a kid, but I do, that's part, yeah, that's traumatizing.
You start out by talking about how with the emotional intelligence, the whole thing of self-awareness, then of course community awareness. And with self-awareness, yes, the move is there, but I think sometimes when we say we would never do that, we don't know what we're going to do, and so I hope I never do it. No, but I hope I never do it. You know what I'm saying? Because there are times, I know with me, when I think that I've arrived, when I think that I've gotten over that thing, that I find myself there like, oh my goodness, because it's so embedded in you sometimes that you do it before you think. And so I think what's helpful as we think about how this can be useful is knowing that even though you may be implementing the methods, that it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to change overnight. And I'm thinking of that biblical text, let he or she who thinks he or she stands take heed lest he or she falls, because I think, just being aware all the time can help us in that growth, but understand that we're always growing.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I resonate with it. I still do think that if I had small kids again right now, or grandkids, I think that what I did with Shireen that time, I think I wouldn't do it at this point. I think I would not go, because I guess only Shireen and I know I was so mad. I was so angry that when I walked out of her room, I slammed her door so hard, the door opened back up. Right. So I would like to think that I wouldn't do that today for grades. Not that I wouldn't do it for something else, but I wouldn't do it today for grades. It's not, I've come to understand the importance of, or that it doesn't help. I've come to understand that that's not the way to deal with something like that. I'd like to think
ended
that
up with at least a B in that class. I guess it did something.
You did not end up with the C. That's true, because it was an interim grade, but that's how badly I felt about grades at that point. Not that I don't feel the same way. I push my kids and I push teams that I'm on, but I just don't want to get angry about it. Since Kaleem is part I, Kaleem is SI, we look at this, building relationships and bringing people together, keeping things positive, staying open and rallying people and building excitement. S. What here resonate that you think are your strengths?
I definitely stay calm under stress.
Yes.
I stay calm in a crisis.
That is true about Shireen, and that's helped me a lot.
I'm a listener, as I said before, and I do show care and dedication in my work for sure.
And here you go, Keith. What do you see here as your strength that you own?
The first three, I think I could see easily taking care to get things right. I do want things to be right. When I finish calling out when something doesn't work or make sense, and I would do that. Like, this doesn't make this, yeah. Tackling in-depth analysis and complex problems, I love that challenge.
The point here is, if I'm working with August or August in the family, what I need to do as a D is look at what August likes to do, and he does the same for me. So the things that we resonate with naturally, I might say, okay, August, I like results. August likes to collaborate. How can I take what I like and what he likes and blend those together? I have to stretch, is what we call it in this language. I have to learn to stretch to support, because it doesn't come naturally from me. August, as you look at me, what can you do? What do you think is something you can do to work better with me or get along better with me or in the family?
I think it's such my personality or my DiSC assessment, my style is kind of it kind of works with anyone. Like, it doesn't really,
right.
I don't really have problems complimenting style.
Yeah. And I think that's true.
Yeah. Kind of like the perfect collaborator for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's incumbent more upon me to say, you know what, learn to collaborate, because that's something that August likes to do. So work with him. I looked at myself with Shireen, with these, you and Shireen. What are our similarities? We prefer a fast pace. Even though Shireen is S, she does, you see quite a bit of D in her. We're enterprising. That's why we both like to start companies and do this and that. Want closure on projects. We're reserved and we don't mind working alone. And then you see our differences. Shireen, what sticks out here on any of this?
For our differences, well, I would say with similarities, definitely being enterprising and not minding working alone. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. I'm very okay working alone. As far as our differences, me tending not to challenge people, and then you tending to challenge people. The one that I don't know that I agree with would be I definitely dislike having to be aggressive unless someone is aggressive with me. Then I'm like, look, if you get back, I can get back too. Like, I don't like people being what I feel is disrespectful to me. That's when I get annoyed. But if I feel like someone is working with me, I don't like having to be aggressive with them.
Okay. And for me, since I know that you dislike having to be aggressive or and I like to push. I am a pusher. For me, stretching would be knowing that you're like that. So calm down my aggressiveness, calm down, tone down how I am, my forcefulness. And you are soft-spoken, you are soft-spoken and I am forceful. And so, to get along with you and to make things work in the family, calm down some of that forcefulness.
We talked about that a couple months ago, where I said I shut down when people are yelling. Like if I hear I just don't understand how we can't have a discussion that's peaceful, even if we're disagreeing with each other. Right. And the moment I hear someone raising their voice, I'm like, you know what? I completely just disconnect.
Yeah. And I know that you do. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I can do to continue growing is speak up a little bit more. That's a struggle for me because I still do like to keep the harmony, but it's something that I have actually been actively working on, speaking up more.
And then with Keith, look at this. This is you and me again.
The only thing I disagree with, I'm not sure if you debate a lot, but I'm not sure if you like a good debate. But differences, I think, is on point. And it's interesting how it picks things up, isn't it? The whole thing of expressive and lively, which you would think is more of like a D thing, right?
And when we look at this, but accommodating, strong-willed. You see where we are, all of us. Yeah, Sharita and I can be a little more strong-willed. Look at Kaleem all the way over on the accommodating side, right?
Kaleem's just like, okay.
Even though I think I'm pretty accommodating. Never mind.
Oh, okay, Sharita.
I mean, I'm the closest one to Kaleem. I mean, that's not exactly saying much.
I said Dad's more accommodating than you and Shireen, but
yeah, he is, but he's not way over. You're just like right above Shireen.
Right, I'm closer to Kaleem.
You're closer to Kaleem. Look at Kaleem being the good one in the family.
Always, Kaleem's the best.
Kaleem is the best. Now, honestly, I don't like being accommodating all the time. There are times, okay, let's talk about it. There are times when being accommodating is not the best strategy, right? Can we say that? Do we agree with that?
Different does not equal wrong. It just means
right.
But then I think we could also make a statement based on words. You say, I don't like being accommodated all the time, but this thing's saying that you don't like to be accommodated ever.
Yes, I am strong-willed.
You guys keep wanting to move over to other places. I'm perfectly fine. Right? There's nothing wrong with strong-willed. Just stay who you are.
He was the epitome of the SI. That SI, it hits you right on point. Because before you took this, I thought you were going to be straight S. And when I saw SI, I said, that is Khalid.
Who called it, man? Me.
That SI. Did you call it, Shereen?
I called it for both Kaleem and Dad. I'm like, this is what I think that they will be, and that's what they were.
And then we have the tactful Frank. Look at me all the way over there. Oh, Shereen, you left me.
I'm very
You went over there with Kaleem.
Not as, but very.
Yeah, and there is Kaleem, man, with the tactfulness, you know, very tactful. Huh, Kaleem?
Later personality.
Pardon?
He's strong-willed and tactful. That's a manipulator personality.
Feel attacked.
Strong will and tactful.
Kaleem saying I have a manipulator.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm strong-willed and tactful.
Oh, yeah. So you know how to smoosh. Yeah, okay. I get it.
Part of me that's a manipulator.
Look at me. Look at me all balanced.
I'm actually surprised. I thought you would be more frank. But I do see you holding things back sometimes. I'll give that to you. A lot of times.
Yeah, well, I'm known for my frankness. That's true. My students will say it. People will say it. So, yeah, I could be more tactful. That's for sure. I'm not tactful at all. And then here we go with the private outgoing. Let's see. Oh, we got August and Keith over there.
Oh,
yeah. And private. Oh, Shereen, you took the on the continuum. You took that left.
I told you, I'm a very private person. That doesn't.
And I'm semi-private. There goes Keith and Kaleem over there, telling all their business, telling all the family business. No,
well, I never tell anyone business.
I know you don't.
You're
don't
like at all.
You're like
you
the
and
most.
Dad.
You are like, actually, both of them. They're like the most confidential people. Focused on feelings, focused on logic. There goes Kaleem, focused on feelings. Tell us about that, Kaleem.
I'm very I'm super empathetic. I'm very focused on feelings. Yeah, very much. How would I just say make everyone feel, and how should I best navigate the space to say what is next? Like, I'm very conscious of all that for sure.
Oh wow, okay. And Shireen is next to you. Why am I always at the end of something? Focused on logic. I am very logical and practical. That is for sure. Keith, you're over there with me.
Yeah, I thought that'd be a little more balanced over here, to tell the truth. I thought that'd be more towards the middle there. But hey, so that be.
Okay. Yeah. And then to work with the styles now. So you guys, in working with me, living with me, being with me, this is the meat of it now. Try to get to the point quickly. When you see my eyes glazed over, it means I'm not listening to you. And and really don't take abruptness personally. I think my kids have learned, perhaps. I think Keith probably takes my abruptness more personally than perhaps the kids. Balance taking time and making progress, speak up with opinions. Kaleem, since you're a little bit of I, tell us how we can work with you better. What here helps to work with you, if at all, in the I space?
Yeah. I think people who who are too curt with other, like, nothing will affect me, but if you treat other people like with like not hearing their opinions or not listening to other people, that's like what will rub me wrong about like if I'm also like, you gotta hear other people out. And you have to like just not be mean, just not be a mean person. That will get to me, you know. It's like completely like you're just about doing things your own way or something, which is it can be fine, but you have to hear other people out first.
There's something here that made me think about Kaleem. And Kaleem, if you disagree, of course, let us know. But when I saw balancing, showing support and questioning ideas, because I think Kaleem is definitely a creative. And sometimes in that creative space, it's difficult for you to communicate everything that's happening in your head. So as he's sharing, like, oh, I'm working on this, oh, I'm doing this, like just trusting that he knows what he's doing. And sometimes you don't need to question it too much because he's got that plan in his head. But if you disagree with that, let me know.
Oh yeah, no, I suck at, like, I know I have good ideas and I know that what I do is pretty good, but I suck at like describing it.
Yeah.
It is better if you just kind of just trust me to just do it. Like that's actually is kind of probably one of my pet peeves is someone who doesn't just trust me to do. Like you don't have to think. I'll get it done.
Yeah, and I think on a personal thing here, August, as we look at this, because of course this is how we work with you, right? And I do think I've transgressed the boundaries when it comes to balancing, showing support, and questioning ideas. And so I've learned that because there's one project specifically that I used to talk to you a whole lot about, but I hardly talk to you about now because I saw that it was getting you upset every time I asked questions. What about this? What about this? And after a while, I said, okay, let me not ask August anything about this because I could see how it was kind of upsetting you in a sense. And so I said, well, I'm supportive, but let me just wait and see until it comes out. And I'm still, just praying that it comes out soon. But
you must be talking about home.
Yeah.
Like things go forward. Yeah, I guess that is okay. Now I understand. It's working with me. Okay, yeah. No, definitely about don't question me.
Yeah, right. And I had to learn that when I spoke to her and I could see it getting, sort of hurt and everything like, and I'm like, what? But then I realized that I'm probing too much, and so I said, okay, just stop probing. Okay, these are your questions. Asking those questions is probably putting you under more pressure and stuff like that. So let me just shut up and wait. So
I've spoken to you about it as well. I mean, I've spoken to you about that too. Like, it'll happen when it happens. He'll be fine. I'm always the one doing that when you ask him those kinds of things as well.
Yeah, and that's probably my C in the driving seat there.
Shireen, where here can we work with you better?
My initial thought would be encourage them to take risk when needed. I'm a very anxious person. So that's something that's difficult for me to do. And it's something I've pushed myself to do, but I always think I could push myself more. So that would be the one that sticks out to me.
And Keith?
Well, actually, no, you don't. So give back the information and time the process. I think that's me. All right. Because I'm not going to make a decision like that. I'm not going to process everything like that. I kind of need time for things to sink in, and again, on a temperament thing, that's almost like going to the phlegmatic side, right? For those who may want things like this. But yeah, so I think that one, give back information and time to process from a family perspective, knowing, okay, Dad, okay, Keith, this is what I plan to do. What do you think? And of course, our dear daughter, Cher, would often, if I don't come to something, okay, she'll kind of make the decision for me, in a sense, but just give me time. And I say, because we do this all the time, Cher. I'm like, why are you always doing that?
Yeah. When I saw this, I thought of, because like you said, if I see you in my mind hesitate when I ask you a question, I'm like, don't worry about it. I got it. And don't take their reserve personally. That's the one that sticks out the most to me for you. And what I'll continue working on with you, I'll just give you the space that you need when I ask.
Right. Yeah. I was looking at that too. Allow him space. Like when I'm like, are we going here? Are we going there? And up to, even now, when are you going to England? I don't know. Like give him the space to make a decision. And also don't take his reserve personally, when he wants to be reserved, when he doesn't want to talk, when he's in his space, when he's doing his stuff. Don't take it personally. That's just who he is. Unlike me, give him background information and time to process. You don't have to give, I don't want your background information, but he wants the background information and the time to process. So yeah, this is it, guys. These are the ways in which we can work with each other. This is the meat of it, finding ways to work with each other and as a family and recognize each other. Thank you, family, for doing this with me. Thank you, Cher, for coming up with this idea. And this was great. Thank you, family. This was great for me. And hopefully we all learned something about each other. Cher.
See?
Cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to the Ignorance Project. This one was very different than what we typically do, but we always love your support. Don't forget to like, follow, and I hope you leave feeling enlightened. On the next episode of the Ignorance Project.
Hi, I'm Hyacinth, and my style is dominance.
Hey, I'm August, and my style is influence.
I'm
Hello.
Cher. DISC. Come on, man. Okay.
We got this.
We got this.
Seven.
Yeah.
All right.
Take it to
Take 10.
seven. Okay.
Which style are you? Find out on the next episode of the Ignorance Project. I forgot to say DiSC, but I think it's okay. Which style are you? Find out on the next episode of the Ignorance Project. Okay, is that good? Was that not long enough?
Okay.
That is good.
It's fine.
That is-
30 takes later.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
good.
this is what acting is all about.
No.
I'm sure actors would be able to do it much easier than we just did.
Khalil could